Who wants to talk about appraisal gap clauses and earnest money with no due diligence? Welcome if you're new here, or welcome back. It's Derek and I'm a Georgia real estate broker, and this channel is dedicated to helping real estate agents like yourself. And we review trending hot topics, special stipulations, contract terms, all things Georgia real estate. And this is an example, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit tighter so you can see this here, that I recently went over in a CE class. And it's about that appraisal gap clause, which I'm not a big fan of. I understand it coming out of the crazy market that we were in. And unfortunately, we are in a time where we just simply don't have enough inventory at all. And so I know that you all know, especially if you are in the Atlanta area, appraisal gap clauses are coming back. Escalation clauses are coming back. Escalation clauses are even worse, and we'll cover those in another video. But let's talk for just a moment about appraisal gap clauses. And let's take a look at this special stipulation here in example number 1. And let's just say that our purchase price is $500,000 and we receive an offer with a very simple special stipulation that reads, purchase price shall be $10,000 over the appraised value of the property. There are a number of problems with a special stipulation that is this brief, right? So it's really not enough information here to thoroughly protect everyone, and it can be very problematic. So purchase price will be $10,000 over the appraised value. Well, if we have a purchase price, an offer price of $500,000, what happens if we get a bad appraisal and the price comes in at, well, here's a good example in number A. What if the property appraises for $450,000? Does it mean the buyer's getting the home for $460,000? Yes, probably it does. At least that is absolutely what the buyer will think, but what about the seller? Is that what the seller thinks that they agreed to, or will they simply maybe not even close, which is definitely not the goal, right? So when it comes to special stipulations, you've heard me say it before, I'm going to say it again, less is not more. It's better to be thorough. It's better to give examples if you need to when it comes to special stipulations. So this special stipulation is dangerous because if the property appraises for less, the buyer's likely getting the home for less contractually. And if it appraises for more, they're likely going to pay more, right? So if the property appraises for $510,000, they're going to pay $520,000. So just not a thorough enough special stipulation. So here's a better example. In the event property does not appraise for at least the purchase price, buyer agrees to pay seller at closing the difference between the purchase price and the appraised value. Notwithstanding the above, despite anything else, if the difference between the purchase price and the appraised value is greater than blank, maybe that's $10,000, that's your gap, buyer will then have the right to terminate this agreement without penalty within X number of days of receiving the appraisal of the property. There are some really good appraisal gap clauses out there. Unfortunately, there are more really bad ones that are out there. So please just be aware of that. If you are an agent, if you are a broker, inform your agents. Please feel free to share this video with them. Just be careful with these brief special stipulations, especially when it comes to gap clauses, because a formula for the purchase price is not what anybody really wants. Okay, so gonna get off the talk about appraisal gap and move over quickly to another special stipulation, or scenario rather, that I opened up the class with just to get agents thinking about contracts. And let's just say that the buyer makes an offer sight unseen. So red flag number 1, right? Zero due diligence, red flag number 2. And the biggest one, here we go, $5,000 earnest money within 3 days from the binding agreement date. They're delaying earnest money, right? So This situation that we have going on here is incredibly problematic, and if you are a seller's agent and you get an offer like this, you have some other options, right? You could always encourage the buyer to see the property first before making an offer, or let me rephrase that a different way, encourage the seller to wait to accept it until such time that the buyer has actually seen the property. Maybe you want to counter that offer to make the earnest money due right away, maybe even non-refundable with option money, and give them 1 day due diligence. You can certainly argue that it would be better to give them a day of due diligence and make the $5,000 option money than to give them no due diligence at all with delayed earnest money. Because what happens in these situations is buyers, guess what they do within those 3 days? They have the home inspected, they come out and take a look at the home, and guess what they do if they don't like the home? They terminate, and they never turn in the earnest money. So there are a lot of risks with an offer like that one, and it may sound outrageous, but these kinds of offers get accepted. These kinds of things happen, and I don't want them to happen to you. So if you found this information helpful, please like, comment, subscribe. And I have a question for you. What's the worst special stipulation you've seen in a contract in this crazy market that we're still in? Again, we need more inventory. So as we continue to move forward with a lack of enough homes on the market, we will likely see appraisal gap clauses, escalation clauses, and all sorts of special stipulations. So hope this was helpful. Until next time, have an awesome day.